Hey everybody, today's January 8th, Monday, January 8th it is, and you know what that means. Forrest Fenn Treasure Found time. So we got some interesting things to go over tonight. But first, we need to say go blue because Michigan is kicking some butt in the national championship 17 to 3. We'll see how that plays out, but it's looking pretty good for Michigan.
But don't
Go,
they always? So it's not like it's a surprise. Don't they dominate every year
go
since
blue.
the
Yeah, not every
80s?
year, but this year they've done pretty good.
Okay.
Even when they lost the head coach for a couple games. So anyway, go blue, everybody. And this Sunday, go Lions. More importantly than go blue is go Lions. That's going to be huge.
Because that happens like once every 1,000 years or something, right?
60, but that they're
Yeah.
playing Stafford is going to be a huge game. So I
Yeah.
definitely got to look at that one. I might have to make a bet or two on that one, honey. I
And
guess we got to
just,
get Peacock. Everybody's
oh my
complaining about
gosh.
Peacock because I want to watch the other games too. So Lions are going to the Super Bowl. You heard it here, probably for the
I don't
top
know. I think they're going to have to go against the Cowboys. Everyone, I actually
revenge
had to
game.
go and look up how the playoffs worked, which seeds, who gets a bye, what happens, all of that, because that's how I roll. But we have some pretty, in my opinion, some pretty big news tonight. So we're going to get to it first thing. So enough football talk. And then we have some things from last week that we're going to catch up on with the court documents. But first, I will say thank you to everyone who played poker. There was 53 people, searchers that were in
53.
there killing it. And Mike won. And so because Mike won, we have decided that we are going to roll the Force Fenn Flake and 3D Bronze box into a tournament for next week because we did have a lot of last minute Louis and they may not have
Last
gotten
minute
in,
Louis.
yeah, or add on or whatever. So we're gonna actually do another one of these. We're prepping. It was incredible. It was really, really fun.
Yeah, it was fun.
Again, 53 people for, back in the day, I think our top one was 100 and some odd people.
The one we
So
did for Jana, the fundraiser one we did for Jana. I
yeah.
remember.
So
So
we're representing. So yeah,
I
go
think we
ahead.
should at least have 75 if we're going to do it a week from now. People have time to
No,
log
no,
in,
next
get
month.
their free chips.
Yeah,
What's that?
next month. Next month.
Oh, next month. You said next week. Okay. Next month then. In February, we'll do one. Yeah. Make sure you get on Poker Stars, get your free chips, and then you'll be ready to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna explain that there, Five Leaf Blaze. You're not gonna believe it anyway, but we'll explain it for you. Which is okay. We all got our own opinion. So go blue, go Lions, go poker, and now go Jack. And this is all K Pro, so I'm gonna let K Pro explain it. Go Jack.
Okay.
Do the
I
right
need a
thing, Jack. Do the right
I
thing.
need to preface this. Actually, Jack's been doing the well. Hold on a
Yeah,
second.
right. Yeah, explain it.
So here's what's happened. Um, Last week we already announced that we were going to do a show this week showing some of the court documents.
Mm-hmm.
Well, 2 days ago, I had gotten a call, which I haven't talked to this person since GPS, probably over 2 years. I got a call from Justin Posey. Now, Cynthia did ask me, can I give him your number? And I said, of course, but would already have been an anomaly that Justin wanted to talk to me.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of the information, I did talk to him for over an hour on the phone.
Okay.
He did lay out a lot of information that I was unaware of. So this is new. I know some of you are like, oh, the CU script has started. This was truly, it took me a day to process everything that I had been told. Um, and
So just
so,
just for those playing catch up. Justin Posey, the person who bought the treasure chest from Jack, the treasure chest and its contents, and then sold the majority of those contents through the Heritage Auction website. That Justin Posey. Okay. You talked to him for
yes,
an hour on the phone.
yeah. And so basically, I will just say he said a lot of things, but there is one call to action that I am going to be putting out tonight and the reason why with the information that I'd be given, or that I was given. Justin, he's kind of in this situation. He didn't ask me, like, can you go live and discuss this? But I
Mm.
did ask him, are you telling me this confidentially? And he said, no. I need I need to find a solution to the situation he has before him. So, what I'm not telling you, I have not reviewed the contract or the documents that I'm going to be referring to. that's for Justin to show when and if he's ready. I don't know if it's in Netflix or not. Um, I can tell you a majority, almost everything makes sense to the timing. And I know a lot of you are fanatics that have been following along for a long time, this all makes sense why Jack went silent when he did. But I am the messenger. So I am doing much. If you guys remember Ben on X Marks the Spot, where he had to roll out the solution and there was challenges to it, there's going to be challenges to this. And I am truly the messenger. But I do think it's important that this is important enough. Even if you kill me as the messenger, this message is to Jack. And you'll see why in a second. So, what I am hopeful of is this brings forward Jack's story because now Jack doesn't even know. Jack is now able to talk.
Jack doesn't know.
Jack, that's the reason we're doing this is Jack does not know. So this is really a message to one that happens to have 120 people along with us going through.
Copper Dan can just call Jack. So Copper Dan, give him a call. Somebody out there, if you.
So since the Michigan game is going on, I will tell you that we're going to go over this pretty high level. I will be doing a speakeasy just after this show, and there's a whole variety of questions that I'm sure will come up, and I will be happy to answer them in detail as long as we need to go. Mike already was nice enough to say the Michigan game's on, and I said, yeah, but I caught you at the sports book today, and you didn't even tell me. So he is here today.
I got to check in. What are you, a cop?
Honey, sports book, middle of the day.
I was on my way home from work at lunch and made a pit stop. That's all.
Yeah, you have to check in. It's called your wife.
Okay.
I should try calling him. Yes, Copper Dan. So let me review.
Yeah, that's right.
I have what the call to action is, and I'm going to give the context of why Jack hasn't been able to speak or tell his story. A lot of people wondered why he just kind of disappeared on us. You should have it explained by the end of this presentation or the end of this live show, but there is so much more context that I will go into in the speakeasy. Cynthia will be in there as well. Justin, you are invited. I know you're in a little bit of a more difficult position, so I don't know if you'll be in there, but definitely Cynthia will be in there because Cynthia talked to Justin yesterday. I talked to Justin the day before. Yeah, it's all kind of a blur. I've processed. I followed up with Justin. Are you okay with me saying this, that? And he's just like, yeah, we're at the point where we need to come together. Okay, go ahead. I'm ready. I'm a little nervous, and I don't.
Let me just, because we're going to talk about the Jack part, and in Discord, everybody can ask you all about your hour-long conversation. We're only going to touch on what I think at the search community would like Jack to do. But first, I have to ask, what did Justin say about Netflix? Anything? Is there a date? Is it coming out? Is there any details or no details?
No, he didn't have any specifics. Like he knew in general what was happening, which is what we know. Like they're in editing mode.
Okay.
And they are moving it ahead and working like mad. And he is hopeful that it comes out sooner than later. But then we got into a whole discussion about these streaming services and how they're gonna, he thinks the market is gonna actually contract with the different streaming services and all of that. So not the entire hour was all chase, but I will say there was nothing personal. It was only related, and then some of the spin-offs of Netflix and what does that mean, and the Hulus and the thises and the that's, and so there was some discussion that is moving ahead. So Netflix seems to still be moving ahead, but he gave me no particulars because that would violate his NDA, and he's not Cynthia.
Well, I would just say when you talk to Justin again, and you will, and Justin, because you're probably going to watch this, if you happen to know the date, maybe before anybody else, you know what I mean? Hook a brother up. Nobody watches this show. Just let us know what month to expect it to come out.
I already have that commitment from Jared. Come on.
Well, I'd go with Justin over Jared. Okay. All right. We ready to hit the PowerPoint?
Actually, just tell Cynthia and she'll tell everybody.
Yeah, that's true. I guess if Cynthia knows, she's going to tell everybody.
Yeah.
Which doesn't affect anything. It's just saying we think it's going to come out in this month. I don't think that's an NDA breaker. But anyway. Okay. Yeah. It would just be nice to know what month. Jump into the PowerPoint.
And there's the Discord. Thank you, Holly. Yes.
Yeah.
And then I do have a couple things on some court documents. It's going to be kind of the buried news, sorry to say. But this was from last week. I don't want it to go too long. So I have just one slide. This is just for Jack.
All right.
So let's go.
You still haven't explained anything about this, so I guess we'll get to it. Okay.
Yes.
So this is the thumbnail. Call to Jack. You can now tell your story. Somebody called you out on your number of days, but that doesn't matter. Okay. Jack, do you want to tell your story?
Okay, so here is the background information. When Justin bought the treasure chest and its contents
Hmm.
from Jack, the contract that was written up, there was a clause in it that stated Jack is now forbidden to tell his story once he executed the contract and sold the treasure
The
to,
contract between Justin and Jack.
yeah, or officially
LLC.
LLC
Yeah,
and
that's
Jack.
right. And maybe even Jack had his own LLC. Who knows? But however it was, whatever that contract was for Jack to sell the treasure chest, there was a clause that said, Jack, you cannot speak about the treasure chest, finding it, or anything.
Correct. So we wonder
Okay.
why Jack all of a sudden went quiet. I will tell you there's a whole backstory of my question was, why the hell would anyone want that in there? And there's a whole backstory to it, but it would take
Well,
too long. I
I
will
can
tell it in
guess why.
Speakeasy later.
I can guess why. If there was so if I'm buying a treasure that maybe was found in a national park, maybe found illegally, maybe I don't want that known. I don't want the sale in jeopardy or anything. So I could kind of
Nope.
understand it. Well, don't say no. You don't know, or you do
Oh
know.
no, I asked Justin flat out.
Oh,
What?
okay.
Yeah,
And
the
you're not
videos
going
were
to tell
supposed
us? All right.
the videos were supposed to be a part of the deal, and because the videos weren't a part of the deal, the negotiations became extremely tense and challenging. And it was in there from that clause was in there from the start, though, when Carl, the Forrest Fenn estate attorney, drafted it. So was it to for the family? That's going to be conjecture. Did the family not want it out so then they
Right.
could? Okay, so
That's
let's go back here.
anyway.
So
Okay.
Jack signed, of course, signed it, sold it, etc. And the heritage auction happened once the LLC owned it. So
Hmm.
Jack has been contractually not able legally to tell his story. Not Yellowstone,
Right.
not not anyone else.
Disagreement. Disagreement.
To LLC owner.
Now, is there an expiration on the agreement?
The expiration exists when Justin says it changes, and Justin had decided it's time. There's a whole variety of reasons why
Yeah,
I
I
think the
understand.
timing of right now. So Justin had reached out to to try to get a hold of Jack and has
Hmm.
been unable to.
So I
At
think
this,
Jack said he got rid of his Jack email that he gave out on Medium. That has been shut down. So the question is, does anybody know how to get a hold of Jack outside of that email address? And if you do, let him know that Justin would like to dissolve the part of the agreement that said, Jack, you can't tell your story. Is that right?
correct, correct. Now I
Okay.
want to say it a little bit more systematically. Can you go to the next slide?
Yeah. This is actually interesting stuff. If Jack is allowed to tell his story, I don't see why he wouldn't. So that's
So that's the background
interesting.
information.
Okay.
So okay, so there's legal documentation, this contract that prevents Jack from telling his story to the search community or really to anyone. So if we wonder why he's kind of disappeared, that would be why he couldn't even return emails.
Okay.
So this includes the for him not to only tell his story, but many don't know, or at least I didn't know, and I was shocked. I asked Cynthia, she was surprised. The video of Jack going over the him finding it in Tom Nasco's office. It's 2 hour and 37-minute video.
Do you mean the video of him and Forrest in the conference room?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
That is owned jointly. And in their contract, it states if either one of them wants to release it, they don't need the other's consent. So
Owned jointly between who? I just want to be clear.
Forrest Fenn, or I'm assuming the estate now, and
Okay.
Jack.
Okay.
So he could sell this video to tell his story himself. I mean, Forrest always said it's up to the finder. I
Right.
understand that others are selling their stories and getting payments and things, but the one person that hasn't is Jack. And Jack now not only has a 2 hour and 37-minute video that he doesn't need anyone's permission except Justin, and Justin is saying he wants to change the contract and nullify that part of the contract, that clause. So
So the
he can not
question,
only tell his story, but there's a video from like June 10th or
yeah, if it's a
11th.
video of Forrest and Jack in that conference room for 2 hours talking, that kind of seals the deal for me. If you think
Yeah.
it's not the finder, I mean, if Forrest is saying he's the finder, would okay.
Yeah.
So 2 questions for me. Why now would be the first question. And the second thing, why isn't Jack in Netflix? Or could he be in Netflix now that he's able to?
He could not be in Netflix before. I have heard informally that Netflix is through its filming stage and it's an editing stage, but would you change your timeline for Jack? I would
Oh,
say
that's the
yes.
sequel. That's all. That's
Yeah.
going to be the Netflix sequel if they can get Jack, especially if there's something else. That would be cool if there's more to tell. Yeah, okay. Got it. So for whatever reason, now Justin is saying, let's get rid of that agreement we had, Jack, and you can tell your story. And I'm assuming Jack would want to monetize his story, whether it's a book or an interview or whatever it is.
Just that Jack's story would come out would be pretty
Yeah.
amazing. Whether it's we can't blame Jack if we're not going to blame everyone else for monetizing. He's the one that found it, whatever his story is or whatever he's willing to share. But also that video, because it was a point in time that was so unique. Okay, go back to the slide. I want to get all these pieces out before my head explodes because there's
And
so much
super chat's on, so I don't blame anybody for monetizing. All right,
yeah, I'd be interested if super chat works because Copper Dan said he tried and he wasn't able to. Okay, so
so Hooli,
okay, I did get some detail about the negotiations, the contract, and the process at the end. Not only for Jack at the end with Forrest, the estate, Justin buying the treasure, etc. It was extremely challenging. You almost can't make up all the follies that happened. But this would at least enable you to be able to tell your story, Jack. So, in my opinion, there were some errors that happened that really tied your hands, and these can be righted. I do believe, and just like Chasing the Maverick said, for searchers by searchers, you were obviously one of us. Whether some people are saying Jack wasn't the finder, let him tell his story, and
right?
then we can judge him.
Yeah.
But I think it would be pretty amazing if this could all come together.
So Hooli and a couple other people have said, but what about the National Park Service? Do they still have a gag order? In other words, Department of Interior intervened in the court case. You know that 100%?
I know nothing 100%. I have
Okay.
not seen it directly from the national park, but this isn't new news. Cynthia said this, I think, 2 weeks ago in our speakeasy, that the Yellowstone is not the reason. That has been that is not an issue.
Resolved.
Yeah,
So there was a time when they told him he couldn't say it, but that time has passed.
correct.
Okay. So
But not
now it's this
everything
agreement.
I'm saying, in my opinion.
Right. Of
Yeah,
course. Allegedly. Yeah. In our opinion.
yeah.
But I'm just trying to think it through as to what logically makes sense. And now that's passed, but now he has this agreement with Justin, and Justin is now saying, I'm ready to dissolve that agreement. And Jack, you can tell your story. But so wait, Justin is saying he can't get a hold of Jack?
Correct.
So the person he bought the treasure chest from, he doesn't have an email, he doesn't have a phone number, he doesn't have a lawyer's email. You can't go to the lawyer to get to Jack?
I'm going to let Justin tell that part of the
Yeah,
story.
that
That's
sounds a
pretty.
little strange.
It's a little odd, and I will
Okay.
say Justin would not have come to me if he's able
Right.
to get a hold of Jack. So I will
Got
say it seems to me that's exactly the case.
it. Okay.
But there's always a backstory that's more amazing than fiction.
Well, and the other thing is, even if Jack knows about it, Jack's like, this search community's ripped me apart. Maybe he doesn't want to tell his story. But I think if Jack told his story, I think a lot more people would be forgiving or welcoming than the other way.
So who
Most
cares?
reasonable people, I think, would understand why Jack did things the way he did.
So who cares says, why did Justin want this agreement? I will say Justin specifically told me he did not want this agreement. When the Fenn Estate attorney drafted it, it was included in the agreement. And then there's a whole set of circumstances of why it remained. Yeah. And
Why was
I
it in
think
the agreement? That's a good question.
there's a whole backstory to that. But
We'll talk about that in the speakeasy tonight.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
No,
Okay.
Mike N says no phone service in Puerto Rico. That's why.
He's on
Little,
Puerto
but
Rico.
they must have had a hurricane. Okay. All right. We going back? We ready to go back?
Yes. I think there's one more line. Okay, your story and even the video. I mean, we know that the Fenn Estate with the solutions video, they want top dollar. You could probably get top dollar. And I think the video alone would be amazing. Okay.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I mean that video it's very important, I think, for that video to come out. So why? So the searcher community can have some closure. if, everybody says, oh, Jack was nudged and blah, blah, blah. But if Forrest has got a smile on his face and he's going through that treasure chest with Jack, I think that would say a lot, in
For
my
two
opinion.
hours and 37 minutes. I mean, it's not like
Right.
it's a 5 minute meeting.
Right.
So
Right. Right. Right.
yeah.
So, and so now we always wondered why Jack wouldn't come forward. Now he can. The question is, will he? I think there's more upside than downside, but all right,
Well,
we'll see.
for the very first thing is he needs to understand that this is an option for him. He may just say, no, I'm done. There's so many shenanigans and issues through the negotiations. I'm done with all you people.
Hmm.
But at least he needs to know this. So this is step one, which is him getting to know this.
So let me ask a question, and you may not have the answer, but let me ask a question. Is Jack just free to go tell a story, or does Jack need to contact Justin to do some kind of legal paperwork or something?
Contact Justin and they will
Okay.
do Justin will do a I'm taking this clause out type
Yeah.
of thing. I don't know exactly how that would,
The
I didn't get
legal
into that.
part.
It will be
Okay.
a legal something because the LLC is officially dissolved. So is Justin on behalf of them, whatever. I don't know. They will work that out. I didn't
Yeah.
get into the
Okay.
legal mumbo jumbo.
Got it.
And now has a
Um,
new attorney out of Texas. So he will be able to work that independently from, I'm assuming, in the middle of the negotiation process, Justin decided not to use the Fenn estate attorney.
well, I don't understand why Justin would use the Fenn Estate. Well, that's true. It was Jack's attorney. It's not Fenn Estate's attorney. He was dealing, in other words, he needed an attorney to deal with Jack's attorney, right? No, what?
No, it was Carl Summer.
Right, right. But what I'm saying is Carl didn't represent Jack, correct?
No,
Jack had his own attorney.
Carl represented both the estate and Justin to, and I'm going to let him tell the story.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah.
very
Because we're
fast.
guessing, it's
Oh
speculation.
no, we're not get well, yeah,
Well,
yes.
right, right. But maybe the details. Maybe we don't know all the details. But anyway, so you just said that Justin has a new attorney. Is that what I heard?
Yeah, he had the attorney that was on record for the heritage sale.
Okay.
He brought in an attorney in the middle, a different attorney in the middle of the negotiation. And Justin already said in his AMA, I'm not saying anything new, that he used Carl in the beginning, but by
Right.
the end, he had a different attorney.
Well, that speaks probably for itself. Maybe there must have been an issue where Justin decided to get a different attorney. I get it. And when you get into the legal world, there's things you got to look out for yourself. I mean, I get it. I mean, I don't know the details, but I guess I can understand probably how it went down. So
So
the
Holy
question
says
is,
Carl represented the joint agreement between Forrest and himself, I thought. So Carl represented the joint defense agreement between Forrest and
Jack.
Jack. He represented Forrest. When Forrest died, he represented Zoe, and he has represented and sent cease and desist on behalf of Shiloh, and he represented Justin um, until he didn't, and then Justin got a different attorney.
Do we know how the family feels about this, Jack? Come out with your story and video. Has there been any comment from Carl or the family? Or maybe they're hearing about it for the first time tonight.
I don't know if Justin's had any communication because
Yeah.
he did talk about Zoe and he thought she was quite fun to talk to, and he kind of talked through that a little bit. So I know him and Zoe have a relationship of some sort. I do not know that answer, and that I don't know. Did you ask Justin if he'd come on the show live? No, from my understand, I did not ask him. And from what I understand, until I got this secondhand, until Netflix is out, he is not going to go on live on
Yeah,
anything. He
NDAs.
needs to wait. Yeah.
So it's almost like Jack was under an NDA with the agreement with Justin. That was almost like an NDA where Jack couldn't tell his story, but now he can. So really the question comes in, somebody just asked this, why now? It comes down to a question of timing. Why now? And there's probably a real reason. We just don't know what it is. But with Netflix and people are under NDAs, I get it. Maybe you had to let things go by. Do you know why? Honey, with that smile on your face?
I have my suspicions they would only be speculation. And
Yeah.
so, I mean, I think Justin was not, this is my opinion, he did not say this.
Mhm.
Justin was very open in his AMA that the financial aspect of the other video coming out, it was very disappointing that it was only about the financial return, and getting that video out really could give closure to the community.
The
Now
video
that
of the 9 clues, you mean?
Right.
Okay.
Now that we know or we're pretty confident that that video is not going to be, the dollar figure was not able to get to, Justin and I were not willing to give our savings or our financial part up. Could it be there's another video, and maybe if Justin relinquished the clause, the search community could get its closure? I think it's awfully interesting, the timing. Could that be included in Netflix so Jack could actually get a little bit of a return rather than just, searchers and the family, and not Forrest, or not? It seems like Forrest and the finder should be the one that tells the story. And up until this point, Forrest, due to financial reasons, that video won't come out. Jack, due to a gag order, that now it just seems like one of them should. Maybe that's the reason. I'd like to hear from Jack, even if it's to review it and go, not true. I would like to hear from him.
Oh, Jeremy says, how do we know Jack shut down his email? Usually you get notice when it's undeliverable, but that has never happened. Oh, well, then try emailing him. I haven't emailed him in years. I mean, I just
I'm
never.
sure Justin didn't think of that.
Yeah, that's true. So maybe Justin's saying, maybe if the search community asks Jack, maybe there's a reason, whatever. Yeah, I get it. It's just, so I think the truth should come out, the good, the bad, the ugly. We just want to know how it went down. That's all. And this is 3 years ago. So we can all talk about it, but it happened. It's over. I mean, some of the truth will come out through Netflix, but if Jack really probably has his side of the truth, and that would be great if it could come out in some way, shape, or form.
But don't you think there's a difference between us hearing things secondhand through Dan Barbarisi, through whoever, or seeing a video of Forrest, or seeing a video of Forrest and Jack, or hearing from Jack directly?
Right. No, hearing from Jack directly is huge. Yeah. Watching that 2 hour conference room with Forrest would be huge. That would be closure for a lot of people to see that. Forrest reunited. Forrest wears the bracelet in that video, which I think you're going to talk about in a little while. Forrest goes over the treasure with Jack. I mean, that would be great. That'd be another form of closure. So if it's on Jack at this point, 3.5 years later, or at least I think Jack should come out and say why he won't. Make a Medium article, Jack. If you're not
Doesn't
going to come
even,
out with your
but he
story, tell
doesn't
us
even
why.
know yet. He needs to
Well, he
know
will after
first.
this show. Somebody
That is
send
the
him this
only thing
show.
that we're really focusing on tonight,
Right.
is getting that out. I will say there's a ton of questions, and I have a ton of more detail in
Okay.
Speakeasy. I've asked Cynthia outside of football if she can make it tonight. Justin is of course invited. I just don't think he will be able to speak to it at this point. Yeah, so
He could be in
yeah.
there and listen anyway. All right.
Shiloh made Posey put that in the exchange for provenance. Yeah, if you do remember, there's been lots of discussion about the only person that was going to get that treasure chest because of provenance was going to be Justin. Was that to silence Jack, to then potentially have a financial return for the family, for the videos and their
that
story? I don't
kind of
know. That's
makes
just
sense.
conjecture, but sure
It's
does.
speculation, but so in other words, I like how Stuck in Chase Landia put it. Shiloh made Posey put that clause in the agreement for provenance. In other words, the family was like, if you don't put in this clause that Jack cannot tell the story, we're not gonna give provenance that this was Forrest Fenn's treasure. And now we're speculating that maybe the reason they did that is because they wanted the ability to sell the tape. If Jack sells his story or tells his story, maybe the tape isn't worth as much. Maybe. It's
But
still
it's
it's
not,
still a
it's
tape
only
of
worth as much as people are going. If you want more than Netflix is willing to give, I can't see anyone else coming with more. So since that, they'd rather keep it than give it to someone for less than, I think it was 50,000 or 75,000.
it's still Forrest going over the 9 clues. You can't get much better than that. But I would really be interested in Jack's side of things.
Yeah.
Finding it, dealing with what he had to deal with to get it gifted and selling it and all that. I would want the whole story.
A tape made after the reported find is worthless. Okay.
Why? Why? I don't
It's
understand
before
why.
he met Jack, but after the find was announced.
I
Go
get it.
ahead. Yeah, some people say
I mean,
they don't
get it.
care if there is a video of Forrest putting it in its spot in, some people, if it's 9 Mile Hole, they're never
Right.
going to believe it. If it's their location, they will absolutely believe it.
Yeah, that's
But
true.
I don't care to get in that argument.
Okay, so let's go back to the PowerPoint. Last line, your story and videos, Jack, are important to come out. Please consider it. Okay.
Yeah, and I think that, in my opinion, Jack has more pictures and or videos of him at the find location. I think
Of
that would be
course.
amazing.
Of course. Who isn't going to video it and take pictures and everything the day you retrieve it and find it? Of course.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So there it
So this
is.
is
Yeah.
go ahead.
I was just going to say, there it is. If somebody can get a hold of Jack and ask him to reconsider sharing the story because he's allowed to now. And there it is.
Well, and not only that, if you think about it, um, Jack, time is of the essence. The family has been unwilling without a certain price tag to get their video out. Your video could be the only video on the table if you act quickly, perhaps, in my
Oh,
opinion, potentially.
and I'm just thinking off the top of my head, but if Shiloh and Jack were to get together and release both videos with Jack's story, I mean that's the wrapped up story with a bow on top. It's how you produce, and of course they can make money off it. I have no problem with that, but it's how they do it. Netflix seemed to be the biggest vehicle that didn't work out. How
So
do you do it other than that? I don't know.
If you were Jack in the process and you were, as the finder, completely silenced due to certain people being selected and certain clauses that were put in, and now 3 years later, the family wants to partner with you.
So you're making it
Um,
sound as if Jack was forced to sign that agreement for some reason.
your pers- okay,
So
let me,
why was he forced? Well, in other words, why
um,
didn't he just say, I'll sell it to somebody else? There's a lot of people that want to buy Forrest
then
Fenn.
you will not have provenance, and that from the family or the estate or Carl, that this was actually an authentic find. You can try, but anyone that is
Okay, I see.
business, has any business acumen, would definitely want that. So you have one option.
So in other words, all those items that were sold at Heritage would not have been certified with Forrest Fenn's treasure on the top. It could not have been verified that way because the family gave affidavits that yes, this was Forrest Fenn's treasure.
Only to one, and that's what I'd heard.
So,
I mean, this is not new information. That was
well,
disclosed 6 months ago.
all I can say is congratulations to Justin. Whatever game it is he played, he sounds like he came out on top. Now, you know what I mean? And from when we first met him at the MGM Grand Suite way before a lot of drama started, he was like, I've been boots on the ground hundreds of times. I mean, he was in this thing from the beginning. So yeah.
This was the interesting part for me personally.
Mm-hmm.
Someone that did have that commitment. He was a searcher.
Mm-hmm.
We did have a falling out in between. Um, when we got on the phone, to me, this is just my side. When he articulated a lot of what has happened,
Mm-hmm.
it was like, okay, so I ran track in high school and I went to state, and my friend went to nationals
You,
and
you, you.
Olympics.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was like going back and telling those war stories. Him and I, or at least on my side,
Mm-hmm.
he started telling these stories. And I think only a searcher, an obsessed searcher, could appreciate. And it was like, and he's so articulate and he has such insight that none of us have. I mean, we talked about the cameras, we talked about Yellowstone, we talked about Netflix, we talked about the contracts, we talked about the negotiations, we talked about the falling out in the middle of negotiations, we talked about his transfer of lawyer,
Mm-hmm.
we talked about the sale at Heritage and the shit show of
I'm
Heritage.
sure it wasn't an easy road. Yeah, it wasn't an easy thing to accomplish. But I guess
Yeah,
what I meant by talking about the MGM Grand Suite, and I didn't articulate it very well, is he's not just a rich guy who was like, I'm going to buy that treasure chest. He put in the work. He went boots on the ground more than the majority of people.
he was
As
one
soon
of
as
us.
we thought GPS was right, he was there with you, with Cynthia. Like he went to check it out. He put in the time. That's all I meant. So if he came out
Well,
on top in this thrill of the chase game, good for him.
and I'm gonna throw you out of this club. I think there's a difference between a searcher and an obsessed searcher. And I mean obsessed searcher is, I'm one that wants every answer because this hunt changed my life. You're a searcher, Mike. You're not an obsessed searcher. And
Right.
I don't mean obsessed because it has a negative connotation. I
Right.
actually mean it in a positive. Justin was an obsessed searcher. Cynthia was. So many of us were, and every little detail. And I think his ultimate goal, or what he articulated to me, was he wanted to get answers to ultimately bring to the community. I think we have not seen the last. Whatever Netflix has, I
Right.
think, and we did not talk about this, but I think he is going to roll out more answers than we've ever had provided to us, because I do think he is one of us. Now, there's been challenges along the way. So I'm not going to erase all of our past history. There's been some times that he's had to say something maybe a little different than because of legal reasons, because of contractual reasons, he's had to say some things that are a little different than what I know to be exactly the case. So I'm not erasing all that. I'm just saying it was really nice to talk to somebody with such detail and insight, as well as that obsession that we have. I mean, the bite of it is starting to go away. Like, over time, I'm much less
Yeah.
obsessed.
Time
But
heals all wounds, even if it's wounds to the ego. And that goes out to all the search community, not any particular person. Yeah, it does. I mean, then it becomes, let's put all that aside and just get to the truth. Where was it found? How did he find it? I want to hear Justin's story. That's what I hope is in Netflix of what he had to go through. Maybe some of this lawyer stuff will be in Netflix to kind of explain some of how he found it, how he got the family to give provenance, all that fun stuff.
I want to say though, I think I have been as puzzled as the rest of us as why Jack wouldn't even return an email. This is
Right.
why contractually he was not
Oh, I see.
legally allowed to. That's why Jack is poof gone.
And
Hopefully,
plus,
and
I could
Jack is a pretty outgoing guy if we've seen his previous media. Hopefully this hopefully Jack embraces this. It would be resolved quickly and Jack could move forward and tell his whole story.
Well,
That'd be
plus,
amazing.
I don't think Jack was happy with Forrest about you're not coming to my house. We need to go to the lawyer's office. I don't think Jack the whole Puerto Rico thing. I think Jack was not happy with a lot of things
Right.
of the way it went down. Remove Justin from it. I just don't think he was happy with there could have been all kinds of problems between him and the family, him and
Oh, I
Forrest. Yeah, I mean
I think
that
all that's
story
the
would be
case.
interesting to hear, good or
I
bad.
think all of that's the case. I think he had challenges of what happened with Forrest. I think um, once Forrest passed and I think COVID, he tried to get out there. There was a whole situation of Jack not being able to see Forrest one last time.
Right.
I mean, there's just every folly that could happen happened. But we know a lot of them. Getting 1 hour with Justin, I know a lot more, or I heard a lot more, and I'm shocked myself that literally you can't make this up. Okay, let's go through. There's also a court deposition that was released by Jamie McCracken from court. There's just a couple of pieces that some people wanted. Until I hear it from the family that Forrest died without the bracelet, K-Pro, you're totally full of it. Well, we now have that for the people that were doubting it. And I understand you guys want, no. So
So
we have a
just
couple of things that we can add. The total, however many pages is up on Discord. It's up on, Harry started his site back up. Those documents are up there. I'm just going to hit the total highlights. Okay, Copper Dan, maybe we should have a GoFundMe page to buy Jack's story rather than Netflix. That is being explored as we speak. Step one is to see if Jack is willing to engage with Justin. Step two, I would not be willing to, Justin nor I were willing to engage with the family of doing a crowdsourcing or the estate with a crowdsourcing for the video. I would be willing to crowdsource and also donate myself, let alone if Mike was to as well, for Jack's story. So we'll get there. We'll get there. But
okay.
yeah. Okay. So let's go through these couple of slides and then we will be in Speakeasy discussing more.
The bracelet. Okay, what is this about?
Okay, so this is the deposition that Jamie McCracken was asking questions of Zoe. And the only thing that I'm going to highlight, I'm going to put here just for context, but the piece that I have circled in red is the piece that will be of interest for you all of maybe details that you had not had yet.
Okay.
So next slide.
Well, wait, did we read this or no?
You can if you want, or you can read just the red circle. Either way, whatever you want
Yeah.
to do.
Well, I think we should read it. So basically, I have a question about the bracelet. Was he paid? Meaning, was he paid for the bracelet? Did he return the bracelet to Forrest Fenn? He was not, meaning Jack was not paid for the bracelet. And yes, he returned it. Okay. So is that bracelet part of the probate case inventory? I don't understand your question. If he took possession of the bracelet, Forrest Fenn, before he died, is that part of the inventory? Okay. My dad did not take possession of the bracelet. He was dead when we got the bracelet back.
Wait, what? K-Pro is totally full of it. We saw a picture of it around Forrest in the Tom Nasco's office. K-Pro doesn't know what she's talking about.
So this is Zoe, right? Saying my dad did not take possession of the bracelet. He was dead when
Correct.
we got the bracelet back. Question. He was shown in the picture with a bracelet on his hand. This is the picture from the conference room. Did he take it off and give it back to Jack Stoof? And the answer is yes, he did. So there you go,
Okay.
people. Forrest went through all the treasure and gave it to Jack. It was, it was up to Jack
And
to
it needed
return.
to be inventoried and appraised,
Yeah.
etc. And that'll become important later. But just, some of us might not be making stuff up. We might know. And I try to
Appraisal of the
temper
treasure.
what I go ahead.
Yeah, the appraisal. Okay. Let me just ask a few more questions. Has the chest ever been appraised? I noticed that you claim that you offered a gift tax to Jack Stoof. Was the chest value appraised before you made the offer for the gift tax? Answer, I did the gift tax, right. The gift tax return, right. What was the amount of that return? I don't remember. Okay, well,
Next
that's what
slide.
Forrest always said is don't say no, say I don't remember.
Well, go to the next slide. There's more to it.
Was it over $1 million? No. Was it less than $1 million? Yes. Okay, so you did an appraisal of the chest before you offered that gift tax. If an appraisal said the chest was only worth $500,000, you could then only give a gift tax for $500,000. Did you do
Okay,
the
stop
appraisal?
there.
Yeah.
So they go on, and because Carl then objects, and they go on. So this is important for two reasons. One, do you remember when Shiloh gave us pictures of the outside of the treasure chest, and he like smudged around the outside?
Yeah.
A lot of people wondered why he had such detailed pictures. It's because the estate did the appraisal. I didn't know that. I thought Jack did the appraisal. And the appraisal came in for less than $1 million, which is what I heard. The LLC, I believe 920,000 is what was quoted for the treasure chest. And it looks like, but if you think about it, the appraisal did not have the Fenn factor in it. So, but that's
Right.
what Jack sold the treasure to it based on that appraisal.
So in other words, somebody wants to buy the treasure chest. The legal or fair way to do it is have it appraised. It appraised at 920 and he sold it for 920. Is that what you just said?
That I don't know exactly if
Oh,
it's 920 exactly, but
okay.
if you think about it, we bought Forrest Fenn gold and flakes and items. We
Yeah.
paid anywhere from 1.8 to 3.3 times.
The
So it
gold
seems like
value.
Jack
Right.
did not get the Fenn factor. Jack only got the numismatic value.
I wonder why Jack didn't have it appraised and sell it himself on the
Well,
Heritage website.
okay,
But
let me ask you a question.
yeah.
If the Fenn estate in August or September had it appraised, why would you reappraise it a month later?
Well, no.
Especially if it costs
And
40
what I
or
meant
50.
was, why didn't Jack sell it on the website himself? I wonder why if he just didn't think of it. Heritage.
Yeah, you'd have to ask Jack. That's part of Jack's story. I have my
Yeah,
guesses.
right.
That's part
There
of
you go.
Jack's story.
That would be part of it. Unless he needed the money right away and just wanted to be done with it. I could kind of see that too. Okay. Mr. Summer. So the
Okay,
question
wait, bring it
is,
up. Bring it up.
oh, all right. So we're still talking about the appraisal. Okay. And this actually continues. So since I read it, let me go back. Are you asking her, Mr. Summer, are you asking her whether she had the chest appraised? McCracken, yes, prior to offering the gift tax return. And so the question is, did you have the chest and its contents appraised? Yes. And then McCracken says yes, prior to offering the gift tax return. Oh, there you go. So the question is, did you have the chest and its contents appraised? Yes. What was the appraisal valued at? I don't remember. Okay, who did the appraisal? Various people. Well, was there a specific company that did an appraisal? No. Can you name any of the people that did the appraisal? I thought there'd be more. So
And
that, yeah.
there is more, and he names some people. I wouldn't want them to be
Oh,
named.
okay.
Even though Jamie's put that out, I'm not going to put that out.
Well, to say I don't remember is that's I would be a little upset if somebody told me that. There's no paperwork. It's just crazy. We just don't know. Anyway,
Yeah.
but so you put that in there to prove what point?
Um, a couple of things. I find it interesting that the Fenn estate is the one that paid for the appraisal. I find that
Okay.
interesting, but that does explain a lot of people wondered why Shiloh had pictures of the treasure chest in some huge conspiracy. No, his family is the one that did the appraisal of the treasure chest and the contents. That's why he would have pictures of different items in the treasure.
So you're saying the family had access to the treasure chest and the contents in order
How
to do
else
the
would they
appraisal?
how else would they do an appraisal?
Because we always heard it was locked up in a vault in Santa Fe, but the family obviously had access to it to get it appraised.
I don't see how you could do an appraisal without having access to it.
You could pay somebody to do an appraisal and never see it yourself. Or did the family take it out themselves? I guess is what I'm
And I
saying.
don't know if they were a
Yeah.
personal. I mean, Shiloh has said he was a personal witness to it. So
Okay. Well, there you go.
yeah,
Okay. Boom. And video of the solve and the finder. Oh, so okay. Question. All I've got left is on the solve. Can you confirm there's no video of Forrest confirming the solve or confirming that Jack Stoof is the video? Remember, McCracken asks, is there no video? And Mr. Sumner says, I'm going to object to the question because it asks directly for information that is covered by an attorney-client privilege. And McCracken says, I see. So you're saying that the video could exist. And Sumner says, I'm saying that the information you're seeking for does exist.
okay, wait. It does exist.
Right.
Confirming the solve or confirming that Jack is the finder. A video, it does exist. Okay, let's emphasize that for people that.
And it is covered by attorney-client privilege.
Right.
And then McCracken says, okay, so you're admitting that there is some kind of video available, basically. And Sumner says, I'm admitting that there is a statement of Forrest Fenn that is covered by an attorney-client privilege, and it is on videotape. Well, there it is. There is obviously a videotape of Forrest Fenn.
Some people have read this and said this does not mean that there is a video of Forrest and showing that either Jack is the finder or the solve. You have to get out of denial, people. It may not be true, or it may not be. This absolutely says that in plain English. It's like.
And right here, McCracken specifies on the solve, can you confirm there's no video of Forrest confirming the solve or confirming that Jack Stoof is the finder? And Sumner says, I'm saying that the information you're asking for does exist.
Right.
But he's saying it's attorney-client privilege. And
Right.
Sumner says there is a statement of Forrest Fenn that is covered by the privilege, and it is on videotape. So, I mean, I don't know why people would still not believe. Now, people may not believe that it's a legit video, meaning Forrest did it after the find, he made it up. Regardless, we don't know. We haven't seen the video ourselves, so we don't know what the subject matter is. But there is, in fact, a videotape of Forrest Fenn going over the solve.
Well, I do find it interesting, though. Let's bring up the last set of statements. If that's the case, and that's what exactly was just said, I would like you to read this last set of slides to say, or last statement, to see if it's confusing to you or contradictory at all to you.
Okay. So can I just read the rest of this, or you don't think it's important?
No. Keep going.
All right. Okay. So you don't want to. All right.
No, I don't want to.
Okay.
One more.
Well, we didn't read this, and use a video related to that.
Yeah. People can review that later.
That's
okay.
it.
Now, one more.
This is it. This is the last slide.
No, it's not.
Oh, you had
There
one.
you
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Question. Do you see on the screen, please produce copies of all correspondence, emails, documents, maps, texts, or other writings pertaining to the alleged official solve in Wyoming? Back in August, you objected to it, but you've come back and said there was nothing to be produced. So basically, you're saying that there's nothing pertaining to the official solve. You have no possession of anything. And Carl Sumner says correct.
No, not Carl, Zoe.
Zoe. Or any knowledge of the official solve. Zoe says correct. Is that correct? That is correct. So you have no way of knowing if Jack Stoof is the actual finder than if you have no knowledge of any of this. Would that be fair to say? And she says no. Why not?
Okay,
because I saw the chest and he was the correct solver.
So before you go to I think there's one more slide. So Shiloh has said there is he calls it the solution video. And we just saw that Carl said there is video evidence of Forrest saying that on videotape that either solve or proves that Jack's the finder. That slide you just read of Zoe's statement saying that is correct, I have nothing. Do you find that contradictory? Is that?
No, it means she hasn't watched it. That's all it means in my.
No, but
she has no knowledge of
possession. It didn't. Okay, go back.
Well, if Carl has possession, I think Zoe can say, I personally don't have possession of it.
She is the representative. She has a fiduciary responsibility to know. Like, she could also say, I might have Sitting Bull's Peep site, but I didn't look at it, so I don't have to produce it. Like, huh?
Well, I don't know. Well, let's read it again because it's a little bit confusing.
Because it doesn't say, does she have. Okay,
You
so
have no possession of anything, correct?
possession. She has possession. She owns it, right?
I
Or
don't
maybe
know. Like,
she
does
gave it
she?
to her
I don't know.
attorney no, she has it. How do they shop it to Netflix and not have it? And Shiloh's
That's
already
true.
confirmed they shopped it to Netflix or knowledge. She has knowledge.
Right. Or any
She might
knowledge of
not
the
have.
official solve, correct? Okay. So you have no way of knowing if Jack Stoof is the actual finder, then if you have no knowledge of any of this, would that be fair to say? And then she says no. He says, why not? Because I saw the chest and he was the correct solver. But he never told you anything about the solve, meaning Jack, right? He did not tell me anything about the solve. No. Okay, so he just appeared one day with the chest and you assumed he was the correct finder. Is that correct? And she says correct. Well, if they also said we don't remember how much it was it appraised for, that doesn't sound right to me.
Well, if she said, I don't remember if I have possession of a video of Forrest going over the solve, I would agree. But she didn't say that. She said, I do not have maybe personal possession, but she does have personal possession because she tried to sell it to Netflix. So
Yeah,
I don't
that's the
know.
last slide. Yeah, that
It
does sound
seems,
strange.
it
I mean, could
seems,
she try and say Shiloh has possession of it? I don't. That doesn't sound right either, does it?
what I understand when you are a representative, you have the fiduciary responsibility to know what's in the estate.
Well,
So
probably
how
be a
can
good
she say she
question.
doesn't have knowledge that there is a solved video? She might not have looked at it. She might leave it with Carl, but she doesn't have knowledge that there's a solved video. When Shiloh has said, me and my family are shopping it to Netflix.
But didn't Shiloh say that how far after this trial? A year or so? Do we know the
So
time?
you think that by
Oh,
that
no,
question,
I'm
you're
just
saying
asking
that
the question.
Zoe only became familiar with the video after the trial, but not before?
That would be a good question for Carl. I don't know if he would answer it, but that would be a good question for Carl. Yeah, I don't know how they could say no, we don't have any video, but then they tried to sell it or say we'd be open
Well,
to
not
selling it.
any video, just not even knowledge. She's saying she
Right.
doesn't even have knowledge that there's a video. That is surprising based on Shiloh's words that he calls it the solution video was shopped to Netflix by his family. Do you think Shiloh could know that there's a video and not Zoe as the representative? And
No, but I
Zoe's
wonder
at
the
Netflix,
timing of the trial. That's all. So in other words, the day that Forrest filmed it with Carl filmed it with Forrest, did Zoe know then? Did she know the next day? Did she
right?
know
But
a
this
month later?
deposition was in August of 20. I mean, this was,
Years later.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Mm,
I don't know. I don't have the answer to that. It might be a little lawyerese going on there because there's possession and then there's legal possession, everybody. So I
but
don't
it's
know.
not possession, it's knowledge.
Yeah,
Knowledge.
I know.
I mean, if they said possession, I could see her saying, "Well, my lawyer had it, I didn't.
Yeah.
Let's get semantics." She's saying she had no knowledge when Carl in the deposition stated it exists.
But protected under client attorney. Is the client attorney privilege between him and Forrest also with the family or is that separate? In other words, if Carl and Forrest made this video and that's between Carl and Forrest, does the family get ownership of it or that's still between Carl and Forrest, even though
That's
Forrest?
how they're trying to sell it. Yeah, they get ownership of it, but
Yeah.
they get
And I don't
ownership
know.
of it.
I
They're
don't know
getting
how she answered.
ownership of it. They're trying to sell it, but they're saying they have no knowledge of it. All in the same deposition. That's super surprising to me.
Well,
Maybe there's a nuance.
we're playing YouTube lawyers here, which probably isn't the best idea. So yeah, I don't
Or
know.
we're just being layman's that's looking at logic of,
Right, right.
yeah. When we just want kind of what happens when you see something like that, I'm not playing a lawyer. I don't know legally. Obviously, the Fenn Estate won, Jamie didn't. It's over. But
Right.
it's interesting to me to have contradictory statements that seem on its face not to be.
But is the probate closed? Does
No,
anybody know? Yeah, no,
no.
still not closed. Huh? Yeah, I don't understand that one either. But anyway, okay. It's not I don't have to understand it for it to be true, I guess. That's probably a good quote for the community. You don't have to understand something for it to be true. We just want the story, whether we agree with it or not. Okay, well, Jack, you got to talk to Justin because you guys can work it out or you can share your story. That would be very interesting. I think all the search community would be interested in that. Um, yeah, and then Forrest did not get the bracelet back while he was alive. The family got it after the fact, right?
Right. Which I said a
But
year
if
ago.
the family had the treasure to have it appraised, wasn't the bracelet part of that? but I guess he just never officially gave it back. It was just part of the treasure. You know what I'm
Um,
saying?
he put it on his hand.
Right.
He looked at it. He handed it back to Jack to have both appraisal and inventory done. Jack never got back to Santa Fe to hand it back to him. The frog was missing. Zoe handed Jack's attorney the frog, and the attorney handed the bracelet back, is how I understand.
I don't know why Jack just wouldn't have given it to him in the conference room and just been
Because it
like,
needed to be inventoried. It was all legal by that point. I mean, Jack had to
and
wait 5 days to even see Forrest.
that's the whole problem. The whole legal aspect of this treasure hunt is what has caused all these problems, the NDAs, the legalese, the lawsuits from the search community, all that stuff. It's
Well,
just,
you
yeah.
put a treasure in an illegal location and bury it, and you have misdemeanors, and
I hope
yeah, that
Netflix
happens.
goes over that. I hope Netflix goes over the issues, not just the good part, but maybe some of the negative part too, because that tells the full story, you know.
Yep.
Anyway. Okay, is that it? Let's check in with the Michigan. It is 20-10, U of M, third quarter, 11 minutes left. Okay.
Are they winning or losing, honey?
Oh, they're winning, of course, 20-10.
Okay. So dinner's on. And if you guys want to go to Speakeasy, there's tons more to talk about. Um, Again, every time I think we're about done with getting any new information, I had Justin call me. I never thought I'd say those words. I thought Jack would call me before Justin. Um, so the world does spin backwards sometimes. And yeah,
Well, never say never. That's all. All issues can be forgotten and forgiven, let go. You move on. Yeah, you know. Anyway, we'll see if anything comes of it, though. I mean,
Steve
if Jack
Clifton
just
is
never
asking
surfaces, then his story never comes out.
D. Clifton is asking for the link to Discord. Feel free to jump into Discord, Mike or Huli or someone other than me for
Yeah,
the
there's the
200.
link to Discord. It's in the description of every video, everybody. In the description of
And
every
here
video.
I will say this. I have gone through some challenges over the last several years with, Turd and people that are, infiltrating my life and trying to tell me stuff that's inaccurate, etc. This seems to be accurate to me. But again, I'm the messenger. I don't know if I'm being set up. I don't know if I am saying everything exactly, poignantly, accurately. I'm in good faith telling you what I've been told. This is really a message to Jack. I know there's some really bad people in the chase. I don't think Justin's one of them. I think Justin has had to do some things that maybe it wasn't perfect along the way, but he is not someone that has done what some other people have done. I think he's genuinely trying to act on behalf of the community. I may be wrong though, and I'm allowed to be wrong and have my opinion. Just like I have my opinion right now, it's probably 9 Mile Hole, but if that changes, that changes. So I'm okay with whatever that looks like to anyone else. I just, I don't want anyone to think I've reviewed legal documents. I haven't. I haven't been paid by anyone. This isn't a script. Bill Gorman just said your script. This is a script. This isn't a script. This is just shocking to me that it's happened in the last 48 hours, but it's happened. So Jack, I, in a perfect world, Jack would get a hold of Justin, be able to tell a story, sell the video for plenty of money, sell your story for plenty of money, get it out quickly to all of us, and you deserve it more than others. And because everybody else is monetizing, so why not you? But get it out quickly. Get it out quickly.
But I also say this, all the people that are under NDAs, I'm looking at you, Justin and Cynthia. Once Netflix is out, you got to tell your story too.
Yeah.
Yourself, not through somebody else. You need to make your own video, make your own post, write your own book, whatever you're going to do. But I think everybody needs to tell their truth of the thrill of the chase. So I think there's still things that are not coming out and everybody blame, or they're coming out secondhand information and everybody blames NDAs. But at some
Yeah.
point, the NDAs have to stop. And
And I personally believe that is a plan. I know for Cynthia, I've heard secondhand via Justin, they are going to tell their story. Who cares said trail cams weren't on behalf of the community. There is a story of why it actually was. I'll go over that in Discord. We did discuss exactly that. And there was an explanation. I'm not going to say I actually believe it kind of. Well, I'd like you to hear it, and then maybe the nice part about the speakeasy is we can all engage and kind of have that discussion,
Yeah.
not just two talking heads, and one of them wants to go watch the Michigan game.
Oh, I'll be watching the Michigan game. Washington just scored 20-13. It's a good game.
Oh my God.
So yeah, join us in Discord, and you silent lurkers, feel free to speak up. I know some people dominate the conversation sometimes, but all you got to do is speak up. We'll make room to hear everybody. um, so yeah, we have 200 and people watching. So if anybody can reach out to Jack, just let him know. It sounds like Justin wants him to tell a story, would be my guess.
Yes.
So if Jack would reach out to Justin and maybe make that happen, we'll see. We'll see if it happens or not, but that's what I think the community wants. So there we go. Okay. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We appreciate it. Yeah, as the chase turns, there's always new developments. And like we always said, we'll go live when there is news and information about Forrest Fenn Treasure Found. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next Monday, if not before, but we will see you in Speakeasy in about 10 minutes.
Yep.
So, all
Bye,
right.
guys.
Bye, everybody.